My dear friends, let me ask you a simple question. When was the last time you looked into the mirror? Not just to fix your hair, not just to check your clothes, but to actually check your personality. We spend hours polishing our shoes, choosing the right outfit and styling our hair. But how many minutes do we spend polishing our character, refining our thoughts, and improving our personality? Isn't it strange? We upgrade our phones every year, but we don't upgrade ourselves every day. Personality is not about what brand you wear. It's about how you make others feel when you're around them. It's not about impressing people with your looks. It's about inspiring them with your behavior. And the good news is, personality is not something we're born with. It's something we can improve every single day. So today, let me share with you 10 simple yet powerful ways to improve your personality every day. My dear friends, do you know what's the first thing most of us do when we wake up in the morning? We pick up our phone, we check our messages, we check the notifications, we check the likes, the comments, the emails. We start our day with comparison and complaints. But imagine this. What if instead of complaining about what's missing, we start our day by being grateful for what's already present? Gratitude is like a magnet. It attracts positivity into our lives. Let me tell you a little story. Once a man complained to his teacher, Guruji, "I have so many problems in life. My house is small, my job is stressful, and my salary is too little. I don't feel happy at all." The teacher gave him a glass of water and added a handful of salt. "Drink this," he said. The man tasted it and immediately made a face. "It's bitter." Then the teacher took him to a lake, poured the same salt into it, and asked him to drink again. This time the man said, "It tastes fresh." The teacher smiled and said, "My child, life's problems are like salt. The bitterness depends on how small or how large your heart is. If your heart is small like the glass, the problems feel overwhelming. If your heart is large like the lake, the same problems become insignificant. And do you know how to expand the heart through gratitude? Gratitude makes your heart bigger. Gratitude makes your personality magnetic. Gratitude turns ordinary days into blessings and simple people into extraordinary souls. When you wake up, instead of saying, "I have to go to work," say, "I get to go to work." Instead of saying, "I have to cook for my family," say, "I get to cook for my family." Instead of saying, "I have so many problems," say, "I have so many opportunities to grow." Gratitude doesn't change what we see, it changes how we see it. And people are naturally drawn to those who radiate thankfulness because they feel inspired in their presence. So my friends, if you want to improve your personality every single day, begin with this practice gratitude. Not once a week, not once a month, but every single day. Because a grateful person is never unattractive. A grateful person is always magnetic. My dear friends, one of the most underrated qualities that can truly transform your personality is the ability to listen more and speak less. Think about it. Most of us believe that if we want to impress others, we must speak more, share more, display more knowledge, and dominate every conversation. But the truth is, people don't always remember the one who spoke the most. They remember the one who made them feel heard. When you genuinely listen, you give someone a gift that is rarer than money, rarer than material possessions. You give them your attention. And in today's noisy, distracted world, attention is the greatest form of love, respect, and value you can offer. Have you ever noticed what happens when someone is talking to you, but instead of listening, you're busy preparing what you're going to say next, or maybe scrolling on your phone? The person senses it immediately. Their energy drops, their words lose life. Why? Because deep down, every human being just wants to be understood. And if you deny them that no matter how great your words are, your personality will not leave a lasting impression. Let me share a little story. A wise teacher once said to his students, "When you speak, you repeat what you already know. But when you listen, you might learn something new." Listening is not about being silent. It is about being present. It is about pausing your own inner noise, your judgments, your urge to interrupt, and simply absorbing what the other person is trying to express. Sometimes people don't even need solutions. They don't need advice. They don't need your grand opinions. All they want is someone to truly listen without judgment. And when you do that, magic happens. People begin to feel comfortable around you. They begin to trust you. They begin to open their hearts to you. Suddenly, you're not just another person in their life. You become someone who makes them feel valued. And that, my friends, is what defines a beautiful personality. So, next time you're in a conversation, resist the urge to speak unnecessarily. Resist the temptation to show off what you know. Instead, lean in, maintain eye contact, nod, and respond with empathy. Let your silence speak louder than your words, because when you listen, you're not just hearing sounds, you're touching hearts. And when you touch hearts, you don't just improve your personality, you elevate your entire being. My dear friends, if there is one quality that shines brighter than expensive clothes, louder than big titles, and stronger than any external achievement, it is humility. Humility is the fragrance of a flower. The flower does not announce its fragrance. It does not boast about its sweetness. Yet everyone who comes close to it is touched, is refreshed, is uplifted. That is the power of being humble. Sadly, in today's world, humility is often misunderstood. People think being humble means being weak, being submissive, or lacking confidence. But humility is not about thinking less of yourself. It is about thinking of yourself less. It is not denying your strengths. It is about using your strengths to serve, not to show off. Let me tell you a small story. Once a young man was very proud of his intelligence. He would constantly argue with others, show off his knowledge, and try to prove he was the smartest person in the room. One day he approached a wise monk and asked, "Master, why is it that people do not respect me even though I am so intelligent?" The monk smiled and handed him a cup. He filled the cup with tea until it overflowed, spilling everywhere. The young man shouted, "Stop! The cup is already full." The monk looked into his eyes and said, "Exactly. Your mind is just like this cup, so full of pride. There is no space left for respect, love, or wisdom. Until you empty yourself of pride, you cannot be truly great." That, my friends, is the secret. Arrogance may get you attention, but humility wins you admiration. Arrogance can make people fear you, but humility makes people love you. When you're proud, people may listen to your words, but when you're humble, people will remember your heart. Think about it. The tallest trees in the forest are often the ones that bend the most when the wind blows. The rivers that quench the thirst of millions always flow in the lower lands, not on the high mountains. Nature itself teaches us that the more you grow, the more you must bow down. True strength lies not in lifting your head above others, but in lowering it with grace. Humility has another magical quality. It invites learning. A proud person thinks they already know everything, so they stop growing. A humble person knows there is always more to learn, so they grow endlessly. That's why humility doesn't just improve your personality. It transforms your destiny. So the next time life gives you success, don't let it reach your head. Let it reach your heart. Say thank you. Share credit. Acknowledge others. Instead of saying, "Look what I have done," say, "I am grateful for what I was allowed to do." Instead of walking into a room and saying, "Here I am," walk in and say, "There you are." This simple shift can change how people perceive you forever. My friends, remember this. Pride builds walls. Humility builds bridges. Pride makes you unreachable. Humility makes you unforgettable. If you truly want to improve your personality every day, learn the art of bowing down even as you rise up. My dear friends, let me share with you something so simple, yet so powerful, that it can transform not only your personality, but the mood of an entire room the moment you enter it. It costs nothing. It takes no special training, and yet it has the power to disarm anger, dissolve tension, and build trust instantly. And that is your smile. Have you noticed, my friends, that when a child smiles, the whole atmosphere changes? Even a tired mother, even an exhausted father suddenly feels a rush of energy when they see their little one smile. Why? Because a smile carries warmth, sincerity, and joy. It is the universal language of kindness. You don't need to translate it, you don't need subtitles. you don't even need words. Whether you are in Pakistan or America, Africa or Japan, a smile means the same thing everywhere. I come with peace. I come with friendliness. Now, let's think honestly. How often do we actually smile in our daily lives? For many of us, life's pressures weigh so heavily on our faces that our expression is always serious, tense, or stressed. We're running late for work, worrying about bills, stuck in traffic, angry at people, and slowly our natural smile disappears. But here's the irony. The more we lose our smile, the less attractive our personality becomes. Nobody enjoys being around a face that constantly looks upset. People are drawn to those who radiate positivity. Let me tell you a story. There was once a young woman who worked as a receptionist in a busy office. She wasn't wearing expensive clothes. She didn't have a glamorous appearance, but everyone in the office adored her. Why? Because she greeted every person with a warm, genuine smile. Clients who walked in stressed, angry or nervous would leave calmer and happier after interacting with her. One day, her boss asked her, "What's your secret? How do you make people feel so good?" She replied, "It's simple, I smile. Because a smile is the only curve that sets everything straight." Isn't that profound? A smile is contagious. When you smile at someone, very often they will smile back. And in that simple exchange, walls of ego collapse, fear melts, and connection begins. That is why a smile is not just about your face, it is about your personality. Now some people ask, but what if I don't feel like smiling? Should I fake it? The truth is, when you smile, even if you start by forcing it, your brain begins to release chemicals like dopamine and serotonin, which actually make you feel happier. So not only does your smile uplift others, it uplifts you first. Isn't that beautiful? You don't wait to be happy to smile. You smile to become happy. But my friends, let me add one caution here. A smile must be genuine. A fake smile is easily detected. It doesn't touch the eyes. It doesn't touch the heart. A genuine smile comes from gratitude, from compassion, from kindness. And when you smile from your heart, it is unforgettable. So next time you meet someone, whether it is your family at home, a colleague at work, a stranger on the street, offer them your smile. Don't underestimate it. That small gesture can change their entire day. And over time, people will begin to associate you with positivity, with joy, with light. They may not remember your words, they may not remember your achievements, but they will always remember how you made them feel when you smiled at them. My dear friends, remember this. Clothes may make you look good. Money may make you feel secure, but only a smile makes you truly beautiful. If you want to improve your personality every single day, then don't forget to wear the best accessory you already have, your smile. My dear friends, anger is like fire. A small flame can give warmth, but if left uncontrolled, it can burn the entire house down. In the same way, a little firmness, a little passion is sometimes needed in life, but uncontrolled anger, it destroys relationships, ruins reputations, and scars our personality deeply. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to lose your temper? Someone cuts you off in traffic and instantly your blood boils. A family member says something you don't like, and immediately your voice rises. A colleague makes a mistake, and without thinking you lash out. But later, when the fire cools down, regret always walks in. You sit quietly replaying your words, wishing you could take them back. And that's the tragedy of anger. In just a few seconds of fury, we can cause damage that takes years to heal. Let me tell you a story. Once a father gave his young son a bag of nails and told him, "Every time you lose your temper, hammer one nail into the fence." The boy was hot-tempered, so in the first week alone he hammered dozens of nails. Slowly, he began to control himself because hammering nails was tiring. Finally, there came a day when he didn't lose his temper at all. Excited, he told his father. The father smiled and said, "No, every time you control your anger, pull one nail out of the fence." The boy did so. At last, all the nails were removed. His father took him to the fence and said, "Well done, my son, but look closely at the holes in the wood. The fence will never be the same again." Anger is like that. Even if you apologize later, the scars remain. Isn't that true, my friends? When we shout in anger, we may say, "I didn't mean it, I was just angry." But the person who hears it may carry that wound for life. Words once spoken cannot be swallowed back. That is why one of the greatest strengths of personality is not how loudly we can speak, but how calmly we can remain in moments of provocation. Now you may ask, but how do we control anger? The secret is in awareness. When you feel your heart racing, your breath quickening, your body heating up, pause. Don't speak, don't act, walk away if you must. Breathe deeply. Count to 10. Remind yourself, if I let anger control me, I will lose my dignity. The moment you pause, the fire begins to cool. Another way is to shift perspective. Instead of immediately reacting, ask yourself, is this really worth my peace? Will it matter a year from now? Most of the time, the things we get angry about are small, temporary, and unworthy of the damage anger can cause. Why burn the entire house down just to kill a mosquito? My friends, people will always test your patience. Situations will always challenge your calm, but remember, your response is your choice. If you answer anger with anger, you become like everyone else. If you answer anger with calm, you rise above. And that is what makes your personality truly powerful. The great leaders, the saints, the wise teachers, they were not people who never faced difficulties. They were people who mastered their emotions in the middle of those difficulties. They proved that real strength is not in lifting heavy weights at the gym. It is in lifting the heavy weight of your anger and putting it down gently. So next time you feel the fire rising within, remind yourself, this fire can burn my peace, my respect, my relationships. Do I really want that? Choose calm, choose silence, choose dignity. Because controlling your anger does not make you weak. It makes you the strongest person in the room. And my dear friends, if you want to improve your personality every day, learn to control your anger. Because an angry face repels people, but a calm presence attracts them. Anger pushes people away. Calmness pulls people closer. And the most beautiful personality is one that makes others feel safe, not scared. My dear friends, there is a hidden beauty in giving. But do you know when that beauty shines brightest? When you give without expectation. When you help, not because you are keeping score, not because you are waiting for a return, not because you want the world to notice, but simply because it is the right thing to do. That is when your personality becomes extraordinary. Unfortunately, many people today help with conditions attached. They lend money but expect loyalty in return. They do a favor but secretly wait for it to be repaid. They show kindness but only if someone is watching. But my friends, help with strings attached is not kindness, it is business. Real kindness is when you give and then forget. When you help and then walk away. When you serve and then expect nothing back. Let me share a story. A wise man once said, if you want to know whether a tree is truly generous, don't look at its flowers, look at its fruits. A mango tree gives shade to strangers who never planted it. It offers fruits to people who may never water it. The tree does not say, first give me something, then I'll give you shade. It just gives. Why? Because giving is its nature. My friends, shouldn't we learn from that tree? Think about the times in your own life when someone helped you unexpectedly without wanting anything in return. Maybe a stranger gave you directions when you were lost. Maybe a friend supported you when you had nothing to offer back. Didn't that act of selfless help touch your heart in a way nothing else could? We admire such people. We trust them. We feel safe with them. That is the personality that shines, one that gives without keeping accounts. But then comes the question, if I help without expectation, won't people take advantage of me? And yes, sometimes they will. Sometimes your kindness will not be valued. Sometimes your help will not be acknowledged. But let me remind you, helping others is not about what they deserve. It is about who you are. If the sun only gave light to people who thanked it, half the world would be in darkness. If rivers only gave water to people who respected them, millions would die of thirst. But the sun still shines, the rivers still flow, and the trees still give. They do not help because others are worthy. They help because helping is their nature. When you help without expectation, something magical happens. Your personality begins to radiate trust. People begin to sense that you are not here to use them. You are here to uplift them. And do you know what happens then? Life, in its own mysterious way, repays you. Maybe not from the same people you helped, but from unexpected places. This is the law of life. What you give selflessly always finds its way back to you multiplied. My friends, the greatest joy of helping is not in receiving anything back, but in knowing that you made someone's burden lighter, someone's day brighter, someone's heart stronger. That joy is priceless. And the person who carries that joy becomes magnetic. People want to be around such souls. Their personality doesn't just look good, it feels good. So the next time you see someone in need, don't ask, what will I get if I help them? Ask instead, what will happen to them if I don't? And when you choose to give, don't keep it on a list. Don't expect applause. Don't wait for repayment. Just give and move on. Because helping without expectation is the purest form of humanity, and it is one of the greatest ways to improve your personality every single day. My dear friends, if there's one quality that defines the depth of your personality, it is how you treat people. Not just the ones above you, not just the ones who can benefit you, but especially the ones who can do nothing for you. Respect for everyone, regardless of their position, their background, or their status in life, is the true ornament of a noble personality. Sadly, in today's world, respect has become selective. Many bow down to the rich but look down upon the poor. Many speak sweetly to their boss but rudely to the waiter. Many show courtesy to the influential, but arrogance to the simple. But my friends, real respect is not about hierarchy. It is about humanity. If you respect only those who are above you, it is not respect, it is strategy. True respect is when you value everyone equally, whether they sit in an office chair or sweep the office floor. Let me tell you a story. A man once entered a hotel lobby and everyone there was rushing to greet a well-known businessman who had just arrived. The man noticed that all attention was on this rich guest, but in the corner stood a janitor quietly cleaning the floor. Nobody acknowledged him. Nobody even looked at him. The man walked over, smiled warmly, and said, "Thank you for keeping this place clean. Your work makes it pleasant for all of us." The janitor's eyes filled with tears. "Sir," he said, "I've been working here for 15 years. You are the first guest to say these words to me." My friends, that is the power of respect. It costs nothing, yet it gives everything. When you respect everyone, you create an invisible bridge between hearts. You remind people that their dignity matters, that their existence is valuable, and you leave behind an impression that no expensive perfume, no stylish clothes, no high titles could ever create. People may forget what you said, they may forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel respected. And here is the beauty. When you respect others, you do not lower yourself, you elevate yourself. A candle does not lose its light by lighting another candle. Instead, it creates more brightness. In the same way, when you show respect to others, your personality shines brighter. Think of the great leaders and saints throughout history. Why did people follow them? Not just because of their intelligence or their charisma, but because they treated the lowest and the highest with equal dignity. They looked at a king and a beggar with the same eyes of compassion. That is what made their presence magnetic. Now let's reflect. How do we treat the people around us daily? How do we talk to the waiter at the restaurant, to the security guard at the gate, to the janitor who cleans our street? Do we smile at them, greet them, acknowledge them, or do we behave as if they are invisible? Remember, the measure of your personality is not how you treat your equals or your superiors, but how you treat those who have no power over you. My dear friends, respect is not just words like sir or madam. Respect is in tone. Respect is in the way your eyes look at someone. Respect is in the patience with which you listen to a person's story. Respect is in recognizing that every human being, no matter their role, is playing a part in the great drama of life. So the next time you interact with someone, anyone, Pause and ask yourself, am I giving them the respect they deserve as a human being? Because at the end of the day, we are all equal. We all feel joy. We all feel pain. We all seek love. We all want dignity. And the person who understands this, who practices this, becomes truly beautiful in the eyes of others. My friends, always remember, titles fade, money disappears, looks change, but the respect you give and the respect you earn, that remains forever. If you want to improve your personality every single day, then start respecting everyone, because a respectful person is not only admired but deeply loved. My dear friends, if there is one art that can shape the way the world sees you, it is the art of communication. Think about it. Your thoughts may be brilliant, your heart may be pure, your intentions may be noble, but if you cannot express them well, how will people know? Communication is the bridge between your mind and the minds of others, between your heart and their hearts, and the quality of this bridge defines the quality of your personality. Sadly, many of us confuse communication with just talking. We think that the louder we speak, the more we dominate a conversation, the better communicators we are. But true communication is not about volume. It is about value. It is not about how much you say, but how clearly, kindly, and sincerely you say it. Let me share a story. A young boy once asked a monk, "Master, how can I become loved by everyone?" The monk replied, "First, learn how to speak so that your words don't wound. Second, learn how to listen so that others feel valued. And third, learn how to remain silent when silence speaks louder than words." My friends, that is communication in its purest form. Notice carefully. Words are powerful. They can heal or they can hurt. They can build bridges or they can burn them down. A kind word spoken at the right moment can save a relationship. But a harsh word spoken in anger can destroy one in seconds. That's why, if you want to improve your personality, you must polish the way you speak. Speak with clarity so people understand you. Speak with kindness so people feel safe with you. Speak with confidence so people trust you. But communication is not only about speaking, it is equally about listening. Many times we think we are good communicators because we can speak well. But have you noticed, my friends, that the best communicators are often the best listeners? Why? Because people don't just want your words, they want your attention. They want to know that you care about their thoughts and feelings. A wise man once said, most people do not listen with the intent to understand. They listen with the intent to reply. If you want your personality to shine, reverse this. Listen not to reply, but to understand. That simple shift can change every conversation in your life. And then there is the golden tool of silence. Sometimes the most powerful communication is to say nothing at all. In moments of anger, silence protects relationships. In moments of grief, silence offers comfort. In moments of confusion, silence allows wisdom to emerge. A personality that knows when to speak and when to stay quiet is deeply admired. So how do we improve our communication daily?